Shuckalaka kapow. How's it going, old schoolers? You are kicking it old school with Russell J.S., and I'm your host, Russell J.S. I was going to make a video last night on my top 10 favorite movies of the 2000s. Yes, the first decade of the 21st century, 2000 to 2009. I was getting ready to do it, and then I laid down for a bit, and then I passed out. I would have done it earlier this morning, but I was still having, I was still just out like a light. But, however, I was, you know, I was, planning on making this video because this is my top 10 favorite movies. Now, I had a lot of movies, like in the 80s, like the 90s, you know, I had a lot of all-time favorite movies of the decade, but I had to pick my top 10 favorites, the ones I have seen so many times over, I paid attention to. Hold on, let me go get my vape. Uh, yeah, I'm in my pajamas right now. I just finished watching Star Wars A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back, and after I get done with this video, I'm going to watch Return of the Jedi, and then I'm going to try and get some shut-eye because I do have to work in the morning. I can't be at the point just yet where I'm doing YouTube for a living. I mean, I got to have plenty more subscribers than what I got right now. Now, don't get me wrong. I am happy with the subscribers that I've got currently right now. I'm at 162, I think. And it's like I've said before, it's better than nothing. Now, we've all had our favorite. I can't believe that all the good movies from the 2000s, the first decade of the 21st century, I can't believe a good lot of them are classics now. I mean, and we all have our favorites too. We all have had our favorites, but I was only able to pick my favorite top 10. And remember, if you're new to the channel, feel free to hit a like, subscribe, leave comments in the box down below, and ring that bell for notifications to help the algorithms. So without further ado, let's check out my top 10 all-time favorite bad Oscars of the 2000s, shall we? All right. Now, also I want to point out that a lot of these movies aren't from my collection. I have them in my collection, but they're in those multi-disc box sets, like the Star Wars prequels, Fast and Furious, Indiana Jones. But I did borrow some from the library, which I plan on taking back soon. But I had to go ahead. I should have taken them back a couple days ago. Probably going to get fined, but hey, all for the sake of art, right? And without further ado, let's check out these bad Oscars. And I want to know your feedback. After you watch this video, I want to know your feedback on what your top 10 favorite movies of the 2000s, well, should I say the first decade of the 21st century. But without further ado, let's check these bad Oscars out, shall we? Coming in at number 10, The Fast and the Furious. I mean, probably one of the best action movies to come out of the 2000s, the first decade, in year 2001, starring what is now almost an all-star cast of Michelle Rodriguez, Jordana Brewster, Vin Diesel, Paul Walker, should I say the late great Paul Walker. And this has spawned a franchise of video games, like I think one video game for PS2 and PS3 and Xbox. It has spawned 9 sequels plus one standalone movie, which wasn't really all that great, which was Hobbs and Shaw. And also a cartoon on Netflix with the younger Toretto. But all kinds, this movie takes the cake, having the best action sequences, car racing, hot-looking babes in tight outfits, the works. Even a ride at Universal Studios in Orlando and Universal Studios in Hollywood. But Fast and Furious, this ranks up at number 10 on my list. And then coming to number 9, this one helped build up the comic book movie genre when it hit big at the box office. I mean, there were many attempts throughout the years. I mean, I can remember I remember hearing stuff. I was born at the time when Superman made it big at the box office in '78. They were trying to figure out, because the only time you saw live action superheroes was on the small screen. Like the Batman TV show, the '60s and the '70s. Wonder Woman had her own show with Linda Carter, Lou Ferrigno and Bill Bixby with the Incredible Hulk. I mean, Spider-Man had his own show. I forgot who played Spider-Man in that. Little dry throat, excuse me. And also a failed attempt to make Captain America a live action TV show, but Superman had made it big at the box office, spawned 3 sequels, and they tried to figure out how can we get Batman and and everybody else on the big screen. The special effects were in their infancy thanks in part to Star Wars. So they kept on over the years. We kept, I remember in 1993 they were talking about this movie coming out in '95, and they had a concept of singer Glenn Danzig as Wolverine and Jean-Claude Van Damme as Gambit and Arnold Schwarzenegger as Colossus. Look no further than 2000's X-Men, which went ahead and made big stars out of Hugh Jackman. And, well, Jean-Luc Picard himself, he didn't need that star power. He already had it. But Hugh Jackman, Famke Janssen, and Halle Berry, and Ray Park, like Tyler Mane. I mean, this movie catapulted the superhero movie genre, because they were trying hard. Even after Batman made it big at the box office in '89, they were trying in the early '90s. I mean, they tried it. I mean, Ninja Turtles was good. Dick Tracy was good. I mean, they even had a Captain America movie from 21st Century Entertainment, which looked more like a B movie. And they even had Dolph Lundgren as the Punisher. Nothing really happened, but this helped bring the superhero comic book movie genre to life. After this movie, plenty others were coming out, to the point where Marvel and DC now have their own movie studio with other major studios backing them. So number 9, X-Men. Number 8, I was excited for this, and I never thought that it would happen, but Harrison Ford returned in 2008, donning the brown fedora and cracking the bullwhip once again, and still proving that he could do it at 66 years old. George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, for the 4th time, teaming up with him for Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Now, the sad thing about this is, not a lot of people, sure, it did fairly well at the box office, and not a lot of people really liked this movie. I, for one, enjoyed it, and, it's one of those things where if I'm a fan of a franchise, a movie franchise, and they put out that one movie after we've been waiting so long for a movie of the franchise to come out, and everybody pans it saying it sucks and it's garbage. I don't find it as garbage. I actually embrace it. I'm actually grateful that something from the franchise finally came out. I mean, it wasn't the best in the series, but you know what? If you've seen it, well, let me say this. If you haven't seen it, there's going to be a spoiler, so I'm going to go ahead and take that moment for you to shut off this video, let you have the time to watch it, as a courtesy to you, so I could go ahead and talk about the one scene to other people that I'm talking about. Okay, here we go. The scene at the beginning where Indy crashes that truck in that wall of crates, and the camera pans, I think either this way or that way, and you see the broken crate with the Ark and the Covenant. It was as if this movie was connecting with Raiders of the Lost Ark, because Karen Allen returned as Marion Ravenwood, and come to find out that sometime after Raiders, Indy had a son named Mutt, which the reason for Shia LaBeouf, who would also be star of another movie that's on this list. So number 8, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Number 7 on my list. This is where, Johnny Depp's career took off even further. And Disney was at a point where I think they were running out of ideas for live action movies, because they've done their share of live action family movies and animated rehashings of classic stories, from like fairy tales and all. But this is at the point where I think they started to, run out of ideas. But it was still a great movie. It's still a great movie to watch. Very entertaining, starring Johnny Depp, Jeffrey Rush, Keira Knightley, and Orlando Bloom. 2003's Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. Now, the reason I say that Disney is starting to run out of ideas at this point was because here they are making a movie based off one of the attractions at the theme parks, which is one of their biggest attractions. But you know what? A lot of fun, a lot of action, a lot of really awesome over-the-top special effects. I mean, it spawned, I think, 6 sequels, and right now it's in development hell, because of the way the turmoil between Disney and Johnny Depp is going, where Jenna Ortega is supposed to play Jack Sparrow's long-lost daughter or something like that. But it is a fun movie to watch. I recommend it highly to anybody. So number 7 on my list is Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. Number 6 on my list. We're going into territory of a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. We are in the prequel, the third and final act of the prequel trilogy. One of my favorite movies from 2005, Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. This is the definitive one. This is the one where I said it blew all the others out of the water for the time being. The next one that would do that would be Rogue One. But this is the one, God, I can remember I was living with a friend of mine at the time and teasing him because he hadn't seen it yet. I remember I said, let me go ahead and blow the ending. Anakin turns to the dark side and becomes Darth Vader. But, you get to, what's great about this was you got to see what caused Anakin to turn to the dark side. I mean, episode 2, you saw kind of like a process of what was going on with Anakin. Why he was, how he would come to the dark side and become Darth Vader. But the action, the lightsaber duel between Anakin and Obi-Wan, and a lightsaber duel between Yoda and Palpatine. I mean, just all the action sequences were just great. I mean, to me, it was, if I have to pick what I would say are the best of the Star Wars movies, I have to go, after the first movie came out, I have to go with The Empire Strikes Back, Return to the Jedi, Revenge of the Sith, and Rogue One. To me, those are my top 4 of all the Star Wars movies to me that are my favorites. And this one right here, I just finished watching The Empire Strikes Back, and after I get done with this video, I'm going to watch Return to the Jedi. But this one right here, in my opinion at the time, blew all the movies out of the water. So, Revenge of the Sith, right here. We get to see the transformation of the Empire and everything. And next on the list, number 5, my childhood revisited in 2007. I can remember back in the 80s with, action figures for boys. It was completely off the wall. So many collections, so many toy lines of action figures at the time. Masters of the Universe, Thundercats, the GoBots, G.I. Joe, the Ninja Turtles. But the one that I remember stuck out as a kid, and I was so excited when Steven Spielberg collaborated with Michael Bay and Hasbro for this one. Another movie, this put Shia LaBeouf on the map and introduced us to the absolutely gorgeous Megan Fox, the original Transformers movie. And I love the fact that Peter Cullen returned to voice Optimus Prime as he did in the cartoon and any other format of Transformers. And Frank Welker, well, he wasn't Megatron like he was in the cartoon, but he was Starscream. And, this one, the special effects, and just, seeing the vehicles they used. As a matter of fact, like Knight Rider did for Pontiac back in the 80s, this movie helped Chevrolet, thanks to Bumblebee, helped Chevrolet. They were in development of the next generation of Camaro. I mean, Chevrolet sold a lot of Camaros thanks to this movie, and it spawned, I think, a prequel and many other sequels, and also a new animated movie that came out just last year. So, number 5 on my list, Transformers. And now we're going down to the good old deep dirty South, because once again my childhood is revisited. Damn good old boys, never meaning no harm, had a movie based off their TV show. And man, let me tell you, the General Lee, oh, he sounded when he was, driving on them dirt roads of Hazard County with different Duke boys, of course, because you couldn't get the original; they were too old. But yes, 2005's The Dukes of Hazzard. Of course, this is the unrated version, which the theatrical version was PG-13, starring Johnny Knoxville as Luke Duke, Sean William Scott, aka Stifler, as Bo, Jessica Simpson as Daisy, Burt Reynolds as Boss Hogg, and Willie Nelson as Uncle Jesse, and the General Lee as himself. And let me tell you what, he sounded faster, louder, and oh, a good adrenaline rush of car chases and car stunts. I mean, if you were a fan of the Dukes of Hazzard, this is a gem you have to see right here. I mean, it actually felt like an episode of the original Dukes of Hazzard program. The way they did it, they had a balladeer and everything narrating the story in the background. And Jessica Simpson, she was looking good in them Daisy Duke shorts, let me tell you. So right here, high octane fun of car chases, laughs, and stunts. 2005's The Dukes of Hazzard. Number 3 on my list. Once again, after X-Men hit it big in 2000, the first superhero of Marvel to have his own live-action movie. And it was, for me, it felt like 1989, the summer of 89 all over again, because just like with Batman, you couldn't get away from it to save your life. And it had some great stunts and a great cast. 2002's Spider-Man. I mean, this would go ahead and help Marvel, and Marvel go ahead and keep going with the comic book, movie franchises going, to where DC would want to jump in on this and cash in with their characters, and this would spawn 2 sequels, a couple reboots, and crossovers, everything. And would, again, I mean, we would see Daredevil have a movie, more X-Men movies, everything. So right here, number 3, Spider-Man. Number 2 on my list, yet another reason why I believe Disney was running out of ideas, hence they had to make movies based off attractions at the theme parks. This movie came out around the fall of 2003, starring Eddie Murphy, Terrence Stapp, and Wallace Shawn. Again, like I said, another one based off a Disney World attraction. 2003's The Haunted Mansion. Now, I think what happened was when Pirates of the Caribbean made it big, Disney wanted to cash in. And I was wondering, when would there be a movie based off Space Mountain? They did make a movie based off the Country Bear Jamboree and the Jungle Cruise with The Rock. And they did a movie about Tomorrowland as well. But I think what happened was You know, how do they go ahead and top Pirates of the Caribbean? Well, what is their other number one attraction at the Disney theme parks is the Haunted Mansion. And this movie, it stars Eddie Murphy as a family man who him and his wife have a family mom and pop real estate game going on, and they take their family thinking that they're going to sell this old mansion and make millions. But all it is the spirit of that mansion is looking for his long lost love, which he thinks is Eddie Murphy's wife, played by Marcia Thomason. And it also stars Jennifer Tilly as Madame Leota. I mean, it is kind of like the ride in a way, but it's not. I mean, there's some key moments that they missed out in this movie that should have been in there that were from the ride, like the stretching room, and you know, they should have had that. But other than that, it's a fun, family-friendly comedy that I highly recommend, and it's going to be one of the movies I'm going to watch for Halloween, as I normally do. Like, I got all the horror movies ready because it is Halloween, and it's another one to pick up. Now, number one on my list. Now we're crossing into Kevin Smith territory with this one. His fifth opus about his famous stoner duo from New Jersey going to Hollywood to stop a movie being made about them. This is the main one. This is my favorite of that era. Hollywood had it coming. 2001's Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. And in this movie, our favorite Jersey stoner duo go to Hollywood when they find out that a movie based on their life is going to be made, and people on the internet are making fun of it. So they want to go ahead and put a stop to this movie. They hitchhike all the way from New Jersey to Hollywood, get into all kinds of hijinks with an all-star cast featuring George Carlin, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, Ben Affleck, Shannon Elizabeth, Jason Lee, and Chris Rock. And it's just a fun, in-your-face stoner romp that will have you laughing with tears. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. And that's all the time I have for this video. Pretty soon I'm getting ready to do a video about my favorite movies of the 1970s. So I gotta get that together, and I've got other videos in the works. But until then, keep it real, keep it fresh, keep it chill. Get you enough of love, get you enough of peace, tranquility, less chaos, no chaos, less drama, no drama. Keep kicking it old school. Watch these kind of movies. Play all kinds of old gaming consoles. Watch some old TV shows. Listen to old school style music. And Godspeed. May the force be with you always. And shuckalacka kapow.